You'll never go broke because whether you're buying, whether you're selling, it's where the money is made. The top 10 do's and don'ts of being a deal maker. The reality in practice is most people just do not know how to make deals. Like at the best case, you're not doing the best deals. In the worst case, you're not getting the deals at all. This will be the most valuable skill in the world. Start with why. Why does this person want to buy? Why does this person want to sell? You want to be completely credible, completely transparent, completely honest. How many people have you done deals with that don't come back to you for a day, a week, several weeks at times? Just don't be a dick. All you're looking for is a genuine win-win-win. It's simple, step by step, and if you've got the recipe, you can cook the meal. In this podcast, I'm going to take you through the blueprint that I've used to complete on over £20 million worth of deals. And if you take these top 5 do's and don'ts, put them into practice, I guarantee you'll do better deals, you'll make more money, your life will be more fun, and it'll be far more lucrative. Buy, sell, and broker deals. The top 10 do's and don'ts of being a deal maker. The reality in practice is most people just do not know how to do deals, how to make deals. In most cases, this will mean that you're just not getting the best deal. Maybe you're selling things for less than they're worth, or maybe perhaps you're overpaying and you're buying things by overprice. Like at the best case, you're not doing the best deals. In the worst case, you're not getting the deals at all because you're competing with people who do know how to broker deals. They do know how to buy deals and they do know how to sell. So whether you want to buy, broker or sell, this is the top 10 do's and don'ts for being a deal maker. In this podcast, I'm going to take you through the blueprint that I've used to complete on, during the pandemic, over £20 million worth of deals. Over the last 10 years, I've bought, sold, and brokered over 20 deals into the 8 figures. And these have been everything from small 6-figure businesses up to large national multi-million pound organizations. And if you take these top 5 do's and don'ts, put them into practice, I guarantee you will do better deals, you will make more money, your life will be more fun, and it'll be far more lucrative. If you're enjoying these podcasts, these literally are my life's work boiled down into simple blueprints. When I talk about success and failure being very predictable, this is why, because there is no black and white, there is no grey area. It's all black and white. It's simple step by step. And if you've got the recipe, you can cook the meal. These are hundreds of my own blueprints over 20 years worth of work to enable you to do exactly the same. So I'm going to take you through being a deal maker. And if you get this right, like this will be the most valuable skill in the world. If you've got to do deals, if you know how to do deals and you have the skill set and the ability to do deals, you'll never go broke. Because whether you're buying, whether you're selling, or whether you're sitting in the middle and brokering for other people, you have a skill set that very, very few people actually have. And the reality is, it's where the money is made. The money is made in most cases in when you buy the deal. You know, it's how much you pay. It doesn't matter how much the refurb is, the development, the restructuring, the reorganizing. The first way to make the money is when you buy. And the second place to buy is when you sell. You know, you can milk a cow forever. You can run a business for decades. You can own a property and cash flow it for years. You can milk a cow forever, but you can only kill it once. And when you do sell that business, that deal, you want to make sure you're getting the best margin that you can. If you've not already listened to the 10 Layers of Wealth episode 138, I would highly recommend going to listen to that. And if you're listening to these blueprints, which are done in any random order, that just when I think that they're of value to you, and you want to understand how to use them in the right order, one after the other, using the 12-month, 4-season cycle and methodology that we use, come to one of our 3-day events. The first one is the 5th to the 7th of June. And if you go to www.property-entrepreneur, you can secure one of your places and join us. There's only 150 places every year for the last 10 years. They've been sold out, oversubscribed, literally shipping people in from other hotels. Get online now and secure yourself a spot. And we look forward to seeing you at one of those events. So, next to nobody knows how to be a deal maker. And I think that's one of the reasons that over the last 10 years, specifically in property, the deals that I've done are needle in a haystack. They're absolutely the profits that we make. Most people would be aiming for a 10 to 20% margin. It is not uncommon for us on our developments and our deals to be making 30, 40, even over 50% return on investment. You've heard me talk about it before. Wycliffe Mill, total spend probably £1 million, now worth between 1.8 and 2 million. Waterloo Crescent, bought in the middle of the pandemic, cash, no planning, unconditional. From a £40,000 refurb, made £500,000. That's not even 50% return on investment. That's over 1,000%. That's over 10 times return on investment. Over 100% return on investment. Spent 500, worth well over $1 million. So over 100% return on investment. Success and failure are very predictable. And you need to know how to be a deal maker. You need to know how to play the game. So how do we do this? So let's start with the 5 do's, because doing things is often easier than not doing things. Because if we knew that we shouldn't do the things that we do, and we didn't do them, then we wouldn't have done them in the first place. So let's start with the do's, the positives, the easy, quick wins, the things that we need to integrate into our deal making. So the first is start with why. When you're doing a deal, first thing you want to do is start with why. Start to understand, why does this person want to buy? Why does this person want to sell? What is their objective? That's it. What we're trying to do is, the first thing is, why do they want to sell? Where I see people get this wrong is they run into a deal, I want to pay this, this is the price, this is all that matters, X, Y, Z. You need to find, what is the other person trying to achieve? Same with investors, joint venture partners, partnerships. Start with why. Why are they selling? Why are they buying? Why do they want to look at this? And that'll be the difference between, if you've not listened to the podcast I did a few episodes ago about how to buy £1 million business for £1, in there I talked about this blueprint of strategic acquisitions. If you're just going to go and sell it based on, or buy it or sell it based on what you think it's worth, you may miss a huge margin that you could get from a strategic acquisition, where it's the difference between getting 4 times multiplier and getting 40 times multiplier. Step 1 is start with why. Why do they want to buy? Why do they want to sell? Just really understand their objective and bring this down to a human level of, like, we're human beings sitting around a table doing a deal. What are they trying to achieve? And then obviously your objective is to try and come up with a deal that meets what they're trying to achieve. That's it. That's the first thing. That's all deal making is about, really. That's at the headline. The second do, and I alluded to this a minute ago, is do appreciate the difference between price and terms. So whether you're doing a purchase or a sale, or buying a business, buying a development site, buying anything, whatever you're buying, understand there's a significant difference between price and terms. And if somebody wants to sell something today, then the likelihood is the price is going to be lower. Like if you go to auction, the general sort of mentality and mindset, definitely not always the case, is that if you go to auction, you're going to buy stuff cheaper. Why is that? Because often you don't have time to look at the legals, don't always have time to do a viewing, don't have time to do a structural survey, etc., 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 because the seller needs to sell it quick, or wants to sell it quick. And they know that when the hammer drops, they've got 28 days to completion. So if you want your money today, that's the term, then the price might be lower. Whereas if you want your money in 5 years, the price might be higher. And whether that's a business on deferred payments, or it's a purchase lease option where you agree a price that you're going to pay in 5 years' time that might be worth more than it's worth today because it's in negative equity, or there's a bit of a win-win equity slab there. It's the term over the price, where, okay, I'll pay you over 5 years in installments, like your car insurance. Car insurance is paid monthly. It's going to cost you 10 or 20% more than if you pay it up front. Pay it up front, your term, their terms, your price. Pay it over 12 months, your terms, their price. You're going to pay a premium. So do understand this difference between price and terms, because, again, when you understand their objective, you can build a deal around that. And some people will want to or need to get out now. They're getting repossessed. They're getting divorced. They're exhausted, having a personal, professional issue, health, family, whatever. They have to get out. Don't care what the price is. Need to be out by Sunday. Equally, they might be not motivated, happy to have an exit, happy to wait, happy to sit it out over 5 years, etc., etc. So that's the second do. The third is, and again, when I say about most people don't know how to do this, the third is know your numbers. Like if you're going to cut a deal, you need to know what the deal is. People think like a deal is two people sitting down, plucking figures out of thin air and figuring out where the deal is. The reality is a deal is just taking all of the facts and then finding the sweet spot. It's literally like as a deal maker and a broker, like selling businesses, deals, investments, companies. Like I'm just sitting there. I'm like, right, here's the two people. What does he want? What does she want? What's the terms? Etc. 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 Facts, 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 facts. And then trying to find a way, like a jigsaw, that it all fits together perfectly. Everyone gets what they want, and it meets in the middle. You can only negotiate to that. If you think about a jigsaw puzzle, there's not much space between the pieces. You can only get them to fit that tight if you really know the facts and the figures. You're sitting there and you want to buy, you want to sell, and you know down to a penny, maybe not a penny, but you know down to like a pound, what the margin of what you can take, what you can buy for, what you can sell for. There's no binary element when you have to sell. There's all these facts that you need, and most people just don't know the numbers. They don't know in the black and white. How much are they making? How much do they want to get for it? How much is the refurb going to cost? How much is the development cost? How much is the finance going to cost? And this is where people like both get stung and get caught out and overpay, but also lose the deal because they don't really understand what they can afford to pay. So they're just trying to get it as cheap as possible. Now, don't get me wrong. I'll buy deals. I know I can pay up to £90 a square foot in certain postcodes for deals. If I see a deal for £34 a square foot, I won't do a full appraisal. I won't get into the pennies and pounds. I won't get into the detail. But I know my number. I know I could use that for storage and I would still make money. If I know that I can pay £90 a square foot and on that valuation, lots of other considerations around it, then it's just an absolute no-brainer for me. So knowing your numbers, make sure black and white, you actually know what you're going into. Number 4 is a deal strategy, and this is called bottoming it out. So you want to bottom out any offer. So whether you're buying or selling, you want to bottom out. So if you're selling, you would probably list at the highest price on the basis that you don't want to undersell yourself. And in the same way as when you're buying, you want to bottom out the offer. So if it's listed at £1 million, that one I just referenced there, I can pay £90 a square foot. It's on for £34 a square foot. They want offers over £1 million. I can afford to pay up to X based on it, but they want offers over £1 million. I know I can afford it all day long because at that it's £34 a square foot, but I still want to bottom the offer out. You know, what do they need? What do they want? How quick do they want to be selling? This is the middle of the pandemic. I'm buying cash. I'm buying unconditionally with no planning. There's not going to be many people like me walking around in the middle of a pandemic aggressively trying to do deals, but I know my numbers. And then what I do is bottom the deal out. Say, right, their offer's over £1 million. They're not going to. Most people would think they're not going to accept over £1 million. Well, middle of pandemic, I'm buying cash. There's no, I'm buying unconditionally. There's no planning in place. If I bottom out and say we'll offer them 900, like at over £1 million, it made sense. But if I offer 900, like I say, right, well, how close? I can't imagine they'll ever get to 900, but how close to it could they get? Well, offer 900, they counter at 980. You go back at 960, 940. You meet in the middle at 960. You can only do that because you've bottomed out the offer. You've gone in so crazy low. You know, if your first offer is not embarrassing, it's not low enough. It's just the only purpose is to bottom it out. Right, they're not going to get to this level, but let's see where they will get to. Bang, that's where we are. Bottoms out the offer. Equally, when you're when you're selling a business, like you want to list it at a certain price, and if you're buying and you're putting a number of offers in, you can use the price and terms again. So you might bottom the offer out and say, right, they want £5 million for this business. I'm going to offer them £3 million cash today, walk away. I'm going to offer them £5 million, 50% up front, 50% over the next 2 years, meet in the middle. Or I'll offer them £7 million, but it's paid over the next 5 years. So they're going to get more than what they wanted, but it's paid over the next 5 years. It's deferred payment. It's performance-related payments. There's an interest-free credit facility, etc., etc., etc. It's just understanding that we're working with the facts and we're playing the game and we're putting all this stuff together to make it work. So bottoming out is a really good tool to use because you don't want to overpay. You know, you can always go up, but you can't come down. And when you're selling a business, you can always come down, but you can't, or selling a site, you can always come down, but you can't go up. So it's just understanding that, bottoming out the buyers, bottoming out the sellers. And then the final do, and this works with whether you're creating packages for your team, you're recruiting a new person into the business, you're doing a refurb, you're buying from direct to vendor, you're buying from an agent, you're selling a company, whatever it is. The fifth one, this is all it comes down to. And those of you that have done deals with me or heard me talk about deals or heard people that I've worked with about the deals we do, this might sound blasé or whatever, but it's all you're looking for is a genuine win-win-win. Like, that's all you're looking for. You're looking for a win-win-win where they win, you win, and any third parties win. So if it's a new team member, you want to pay them as much money as you can that's commercially viable to give them what they need, the company what they need, you what you need, and the company what they need. So win-win-win. If you're selling a company, you want the investor who's buying it needs to get what they want, price or terms or finance or return or risk mitigation, whatever it is, credit facilities, they need to get what they need. As a seller, you need to get what you need. You know, you want X, you can milk a cow forever, but you can only kill it once. So you get what you need. And the business needs what it needs. You know, if the business is going to continue, it can't be laden with debt. It can't make a load of redundancies. It can't slash its operational or marketing budget by 50% if it's a key part of the business. It's got to be a win-win-win. And that's the last do. Most people don't go into deals like that. They go into deals thinking, how cheap can I get this? How much can I screw them on this? If you want to be, I've been doing deals my whole life. Like, if I look back on my life, I would say one of the credits to the things I've achieved is, one, I'm looking to make good, lucrative, solid deals that have actually made money. One of the top tips at the end is related to that. And then second is doing win-win-win deals where everybody wins. And they come back and they do more deals with you and they understand you're looking out for them, and the businesses you sold carry on going, and the developments that you bought actually made money, and the deals that you packaged up for people actually went on to deliver the returns you said they would. Win-win-win. Like, deal making is really quite a human art. And we'll go on to this now with the 5 don'ts. So the 5 don'ts, and this is where you're probably most likely to get tripped up. When I look at deals or I work on deals, these are the places that I see them go wrong, and these are the things I would say just do not do. The first is the law of logic. Like, it's very easy when you get deal heat. You're in a deal, you know, you're expected to make X amount of money, or big numbers are being talked about, or you've already started spending the money you're going to make from selling your company, or you've already got the emotional connection to this house or this deal or this development site you're going to buy because you want to put it on social media, you want to own it, you want it in your portfolio, etc., etc., etc. The first don't is the law of logic. And what I mean here is, don't be unrealistic. Like, whatever you're looking at, whatever the deal is, just do not be unrealistic with what you're trying to do. So let's say you've agreed to sell a property for £500,000, and through conveyancing, they've realised it's got major subsidence. There's been a subsidence. There's been a quote for £80,000 to repair it. Don't be unrealistic. Don't be like, right, well, I still want £500,000. But like, right, well, we all know it's actually, let's assume it is worth £500,000. It's worth £500,000. You've just realised that it's got an £80,000 issue that is going to have to be dealt with, whether you deal with it or buyers deal with it. Don't then be like, well, I still want £500,000 because that's what I've agreed and that's what I've got in my head, and I've already started spending it on jet skis and pina coladas. It's like, don't be unrealistic. You have to be pragmatic about these things. If you're selling a company and it's making £1 million a year profit, and then your biggest client before completion walks away and you lose 200 grand of that profit, and you say, oh yeah, well, I don't care, I still want the same price. It's like, you've got to be pragmatic and realistic about what is realistic. I was going to give you an example then about one that I saw. I can't remember. But yeah, be realistic. You've just got to be pragmatic and realistic about what's going to happen, and just have that law of logic that if things change, the deal is going to have to adjust, change, or accommodate in order for it to still be still be viable. The second is don't cry about it. And this is the hardest one because in business, especially when money's involved, and if you're not financially independent, you're not a new age property entrepreneur, and you don't have that genuine wealth profile where you're not attached to the outcome. When you are attached to the outcome, for whatever reason, it's your business. The thing about deal making is a lot of people selling businesses, like getting married, ideally, you're only going to do it once. And like the dangerous part is you don't really know what you're doing. You don't really know what you're committing to. And if you're selling your company, you don't really know how to go about it. But the buyer who's buying the company has probably done this multiple times and probably has, unless you've got a broker in the mix like me, has probably got a competitive edge. And obviously my part is representing the person who's never done it before and making sure that they don't get shafted, they don't get screwed, but equally they don't shoot themselves in the foot and talk themselves out of the deal. So don't cry about it. It's like leaving emotion at the door. And I do appreciate that this is easier said than done. But when you've got deal heat and you are connected to the outcome, your emotions can run wild. And the amount of times I hear things like resentment being talked about in deals, a buyer is starting to resent the seller, or a seller is starting to resent the buyer because the way they're going about it is not good. When they talk about when people start to get defensive, if you're trying to do a negotiation and nobody's looking at the facts, they're looking at their point that they're protecting emotionally, and they just get defensive and they're not trying to have a pragmatic, fair, factual conversation. They're just trying to be defensive. What happens is like a volcano, this emotion from buyer and seller, and I would say 9.5 times out of 10, this is what puts a deal into disrepute. And this is why most people just don't know how to do deals, because if you're a broker in the middle, it's easy because you can work with two people that are in that position and basically as a mediator pull it together. But the reality is most people don't know how to do that. So whether you've got a buyer that's like that or a seller like that, whether it's one or both, it is the thing that ultimately makes or breaks the deal as to who's being emotional or who's being factual and pragmatic. It's a real key part of pulling this together. So say don't cry about it. Don't take it personally. None of this is a personal attack on you. It's a deal. It's facts and it's figures. And if the goalposts have to move, the goalposts have to move. And I would say credit to most of the buyers and sellers that I've represented in the past. They've taken that mindset to a degree. They always recognize when, okay, maybe I'm just taking this personally. I am a bit upset. They acknowledge it. There's nothing wrong with that. I take things personally. I ask people for feedback because I want it. I want to be my best. But you listen to it and it still makes you feel a bit like, whatever it makes you feel, it comes with the territory. But I understand for the good of my growth, it's a requirement, it's a necessity, it's an essential. And it's the same in the deal. When you can have those moments, acknowledge them, recognize them, observe your emotions, but don't absorb them, it'll stop it from breaking the deal and ruining it. And in many cases, enable you to make the deal because you don't take it personally, you don't get offended, and you can leave emotion at the door. That's basically it, really. That's what I'm trying to say here. It's a deal is based in most cases on fact. And it's like, how do we broker it at a macro level? The next is don't lie. Don't bullshit. Don't bend the rules. Don't hide facts. Disclose everything. And again, if you've done a deal with me before, or you've heard about deals that I've done, you will know that one of my mantras is honesty is the best policy. I'm always like, when I was selling Multilet UK, if you'd have read the memorandum of sale, you would have thought I was trying to talk somebody out of buying that business. I was like, here's the business, here's the revenue, here's the offices, here's the head office, here's the team, etc., etc., etc. And basically, here's the reasons I'm selling it. The X, Y, Z, and basically trying to talk them out of I would not recommend buying this business unless you can do this. One of the challenges this business has to go from 1,000 units to 10,000 units is this. One of the experiences I've had that consistently creates me challenges owning this business is this. You would have thought I was trying to talk someone out of it. But what I wasn't. What I was trying to do was do a good deal. A win-win-win. A deal that worked for me as the seller, a deal that worked for the buyer as the incoming buyer, and a deal that worked for the team to take the company forward. Like, that was it. Honesty is the best policy. Don't lie. Don't bend the rules. Don't hide things. Because the reality is, when you do things like DD, Like, I talk about this all the time. In due diligence, what they're not looking for what you've told them. Like when I'm buying companies, I'm not looking for what you've told me. I'm looking for what you haven't told me. You know, what have you not told me? What's missing from this information? That's what they're looking for. So don't lie, don't bullshit, disclose everything, and honesty is absolutely the best policy. And try and talk people out of it. Like that is whether you're recruiting people or you're bringing investors on board or you're selling product services. Try and sell somebody why this wouldn't be suitable for them. Honesty is the best policy. Disclose everything, and at the ultimate degree, try and talk people actually out of it because it gains trust. It gains credibility. It just means you're not going to get caught. You know, you're not sitting on a ticking time bomb. That can be something that really blows the deal up. In that respect, honesty being the best policy. Number 4 for the don'ts is don't call people's bluff. Don't say, "Oh, do you know what? I'm gonna sell it. You know, if you don't give me this, I'm gonna go and sell it to somebody else." Or if you don't give me this, you know, this is my best price. You know, I'm going to give you this price. It's my best price, best and final offers. And then they say, no, we're not taking it. What you're doing there is you're burning your bridges. Like, unless it is your best and final offer, unless it is the best terms you can do, don't call someone's bluff. Don't call someone's bluff unless, you know, don't say this is my last offer. This is the best I can do. Do this or I'm going to pull out the deal. Do not call somebody's bluff unless one of two things. One, it is the absolute best you can do. And it's like, I can sit there with a development and genuinely say, I'm going to offer £2 million for this, or 2.15 million, 2.55,355 pence is my best offer. And I'm looking at it and being like, on those terms, that is the absolute best offer that I can make and maintain my margin. And then I'm happy. Take it and I'll do the deal. Or don't take it and I'll walk away. And it's all absolutely fine because it's best and finals. Don't do it unless it is your best and final. Or don't do it unless you are prepared to lose the deal. You know, maybe it's not actually your best and final. Maybe it is actually a bluff, but you don't mind losing the deal because what you don't want to do is throw empty threats around. You don't want to become the person who, the boy or the woman who cries wolf and then does, you know, you want to be completely credible, completely transparent, completely honest. And again, I represent multiple buyers and I represent multiple sellers. And I would say one of the things I do when I'm someone's looking to instruct me is I'll put them in touch with other people that I've sold for and say, look, this is what the experience is going to like. Go and speak to these people, ask them what the experience is like, ask them how it's going to go. And I would say it's factual, it's fair. And whilst I'm representing the seller in most cases, unless I'm buying a business myself or a deal myself, in businesses I'm representing the seller, I'm equally representing the buyer because if I know the buyer's good for it and I know they're a good credibility, I'll be quite open with the seller and say, you know, my responsibility here is to get the best deal done, to get the deal done for both of you, and that to get you the best price or the best terms revolves on getting the seller what they need and matching those objectives together. And this is a mindset that I think people lose. Like people have that scarcity mindset, they have that take all the money off the table, they have that fear in them. Whereas if you have an abundant mindset and actually looking for a win-win and you're pragmatic and you're looking at facts, it can be a lot easier. So don't call the bluff. Don't say this is your best and final. Don't say you're going to pull out unless it's as I said a moment ago. And then finally, rule 5. And again, this is the difference between the 1% who are going to be in that position doing multiple 7-figure deals a year and having the confidence, clarity, reputation and credibility to keep doing them is route number 5 is just don't be a dick. Like don't dick about. Don't mess around with solicitors. Don't lie that you've got finance and you haven't got finance. Don't drag things out. Don't not respond to emails. Most people you do deals with operate at this level. You know, they send rude emails. They beat around the bush. They don't respond to phone calls promptly. They drag their heels. They say they're going to complete on the 30th of whatever, and they don't complete until 2 months later. Obviously, completions get delayed, etc., etc. But just don't dick around. Don't be a dick. Be world class. Have weekly updates. Have a schedule of dates that you're working to. Have rapid response rate. In our businesses, if an email comes in before 3 p.m., it's responded same day. Comes in after 3 p.m., it's responded before 10 a.m. the next day. How many people have you done deals with that don't come back to you for a day, a week, several weeks at times? Stop answering your phone calls, disappear off the face of the earth. If you can be world class doing deals, that in itself will be a margin that other people are not getting because people want to do a deal with you. You're professional, you're pragmatic, you're clear, you're world class, you get stuff done. You're not emotional, you're not defensive, you're not selfish, you don't have a sense of entitlement. It's like, I'm here to do a deal, I'm a professional, I'm a deal maker, I'm going to pull this together, I'm going to get it done. So don't be a dick is number 5. Be world class, be proud of yourself, work at the highest level. And even when the people you deal with don't, you can then make it very clear that any delays, any slippage, any issues are not the fault of your own. And also, one of the things we'll do there is document it. If people don't respond to weekly emails, we'll document it. And then we'll say, look, just to make you aware, you were due to send over this piece of due diligence, this survey, this structural report by this financial due diligence by the 15th of February. That was the deadline we agreed 6 weeks ago, and you've missed it. We need it as soon as we can to properly progress. But just to make you aware, if this isolated item causes a delay, it will be, or if there's a delay due to this isolated item, just to confirm, we're trying our best to get this completed, but it's having not had the information, we're in a difficult position for that. So not necessarily apportioning blame, but at least making it very clear and realistic about whose responsibilities are what. And most of the time in deals, you just won't get that from the other side. It's very rare. I've got a handful of buyers, sellers, investors that I work with, agents, just a handful over 20 years that operate at that level. And they're a joy to do business with. They're pragmatic. It's easy. It's professional. There's response times, but it's few and far between. But if I look at those people, they're very successful. They make a lot of money. They're people that people want to do deals with. And I would rather take a discount and sell to a recommended buyer than I would take a punt on somebody who's never done a deal before. If you've not already listened to the episode, The Margins You're Missing, it was one of the first podcasts I ever recorded. It's episode number 3. If you go back and listen to that, especially for property deals, there's 10 margins that you're missing in developments. And if I had 20 points rather than 10, I would have referred you to those. That's how to do the same deals, pay the same price, or the same deals, but make more money, higher margins, by the 10 different margins that most people are missing. It'll give you a competitive edge over your competitors and enable you to land deals that you didn't think you'd be able to. And ultimately, it will enable you to make 20, 30, 40, 50, or 100% return on investment rather than doing deals that just don't make money. Top tips, that's the first one. Don't do deals that don't make money. So many people get seduced by this deal flow, pipeline, ego. They just have to do deals and they end up doing loads of deals that take loads of time, cost loads of money, and they don't make money. Do not do deals that don't make money. And I would say to the other extreme, once you've got that nailed, is don't do deals that don't make huge money. So like at the minute, I'll probably like broker 1 or 2 big multi-million pound deals a year. And I'll probably buy 1, maybe 2 big developments. And I'll buy loads of little single-lets and things like that. But I'll only do 1 or 2 big developments a year, sort of 7 and 8 figure developments. The reason is, what I'm looking for is the needle in a haystack. I'm looking for the deal that I can buy blind. And if you listen to episode number 3, Margins You're Missing, I'm looking for the deals I can buy blind. The last 2 developments I bought, spending millions of pounds on, I never viewed them. I never saw them. I didn't even know where they were. But I just knew what I was looking at, and I could buy them pretty much blind because I bought them so cheap. This is what we're looking for, the needle in a haystack deal. The deal that is an absolute no-brainer. The world could end and you're still going to make money. Don't do deals that don't make money. The second is, in that respect, is try and talk yourself out of doing deals, not talk yourself into them. So many people that I see are trying to convince themselves, I'm going to get a bit more rent here. Maybe the refinance will come in at a slightly lower rate. Hopefully base rate will drop by then. And they try and talk themselves into the deal. I would say that's completely the wrong way to go about it. That's the right way to go broke. It's the wrong way to do deals. What I would say is actually you want to get to a point where you're talking yourself out of deals. I can't remember the last deal. I'm sure I have in my life done some deals that maybe made small margins. I can't remember the last deal I did that didn't make significant money, like 6-figure margins. I can't remember the last deal that I did that did not make money. The reason for that is I taught myself out of these deals. I look at the worst case scenario to get the deal done, then I buy it, and then 9 times out of 10, I get to the end of the deal, I get to the refinance, and there's £500,000 equity that I wasn't expecting. We end up getting 20% more on the rents that I wasn't expecting. Finance comes in 1% cheaper than what I'd budgeted. which I wasn't expecting. And all of a sudden, it's a win-win-win. 2 years worth of development, hard work, pain, sacrifice, risk is worthwhile because you're making loads of money. Don't do deals that don't make money. Talk yourself out of them, not into them. And then finally is hope for the best, expect the worst. All deals, whether it's your business, you're selling or buying, or developments, refurbs, flips, single lets you're buying or selling, everything takes longer than you think it's going to take, and everything costs more than you think it's going to cost. So if you do those are three big do's and don'ts of going out there and actually getting deals done. If you're enjoying these podcasts and these blueprints, like, I know how to do this stuff now. I've made all the mistakes. I've got the wisdom. I've spent 10 years teaching other people how to do it. I'm boiling it down into simple blueprints, which are completely free for you to listen to. So listen to these podcasts, subscribe to it on whichever platform you're on, like it, share it. And I guarantee you, whatever order you listen to them, there's over nearly 150 now blueprints on the Blueprint podcast. Listen to them in any order, work your way through them, and then put them into practice. Execution is everything. I want you to get a good return on these. Don't make the mistakes that I did. Success and failure are both very, very predictable. So share, subscribe, and like, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.